Now changing in the United States, we have a new secretary of HHS, Mr. Kennedy, who is also talking the similar things during pandemic. Do you expect that things will change or starting to change in the United States? Because if there something happened, for sure in other countries, things will start to change on the same direction.
Yeah, a lot is changing right now in the United States. And, I wrote a post that went viral. I think Friday, maybe I sent it out, or maybe it was Monday that I sent it out. Monday. And it was really helping people understand, I've spent the last 10 years behind the curtain of politics. All of my filmmaking has been, I travel with RFK, I've traveled with Tulsi Gabbard, traveled with Bernie Sanders, I've had meetings with Trump and Kash Patel and Elon Musk, and so I know a lot of these people. And it's, as I tell everyone that gets mad at Bobby Kennedy, because they see he just endorsed the mRNA vaccine. And I released this post because I said, listen, there's a game. We all know politics is a game, but I didn't know how deep that game went until I spent 10 years, as a fly on the wall and at, very important meetings sometimes, getting to hear how they talk, what they talk about, how they strategize. And what is happening is, the post I put out suggested this. I said, listen, I'm not giving you inside information. I really don't know myself, but here's my hunch. When Bobby comes out to say that he is supporting the new mRNA vaccine, but he'll only support it if it goes through the rigorous trial that all medicine is supposed to go through. What he's actually doing is attempting to get a major manufacturer to go through the rigorous testing and trials that they normally would, but they don't, because since 1986 they've had no liability, so there's no incentive for them to test their vaccines, because if they fail, they lose millions of dollars. They'd rather test them on the people, and that's what they do. And if they put them in people, and a lot of people get hurt or die, then they change the name of the medication, or suddenly it becomes a veterinarian medication. It never goes off the market. They just repurpose it. That's one of the games they play, one of the mini games. And so I suggested to people, I said, there are a couple of factors to look at here before you just lose trust in Bobby Kennedy, because I know him well, and he's a good man of solid integrity, a humble man. Understand that he and Trump and everyone have learned that this thing is so much more. The swamp goes deep. We'll just put it that way, very, very deep. And there's been a lot of things set up to protect the evil ones. And our court circuitry is so corrupt that there's certain courts that if Trump prosecutes one of the evil politicians, it will reach a certain court, and that those people have all been bought and paid for, the DA, the judge, everybody, by George Soros, and they're under agreement that they will grant that person immunity, and they'll never be held liable again. And so when you find this out, you go, okay, we can't prosecute them right now because they'll be granted immunity. We must clean up the court system first. People don't know this. And I told people, I said, with what Bobby's doing, he's forcing them to go into a trial, because we all know that the vaccine is going to fail that trial if they end up doing it, if it's transparent and if it's fair, if they can oversee that it's an actual authentic trial. And then he can use that data to prove the point that he's been making for decades, which these are not safe and effective medicines. They need to be more rigorously and professionally and scientifically manufactured and tested. And so I said, me knowing him, I bet you anything that this is what he's actually doing. He's trying to get one of the major manufacturers to actually do a legitimate trial so he can use that data to then stop all the rest of the vaccines. To say, listen, now that we know that this one was told to be safe and effective and it's not, then let's look at Pfizer. Now let's look at these other ones. So there's a strategy that has to happen here. And there's also another layer on that there's so trillions of dollars invested in this by some very, very dark forces. Big Pharma is a dark, dark cabal. And if Bobby moved at the speed that he wants to move, he would very likely suffer the same fate that his uncle and father suffered. And so there's also that thing for us to recognize, that when they step into there and they get briefed and they start to understand, listen, this is the game you stepped into. And these are the risks you're taking. And you must move strategically, and it's not going to happen as fast as you want it to happen. It can't. You've got to do it right, because if you just came out and shut the vaccines down, unfortunately, half of the world, as you alluded to, would rally against him because they would think that he's now making everyone unsafe, and then they would end up, releasing another bioweapon into the world just to prove that it's Bobby Kennedy's fault because he shut down the vaccines. That's what they would do, and they know that. They just tried that with measles here in Texas, and we sprinted out and did a investigation of the situation because the media was saying 2 children have already died, and thanks to Bobby Kennedy because he doesn't believe in the measles vaccine, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to do that already. We did the investigation, released a film called A Little World, which is online, interviewed the Mennonite community and interviewed the doctors. The little girls didn't die of measles, of course. Both of them died because the hospitals gave them the wrong antibiotic and it killed them. And so that's a big part of what we do is we try to get ahead of these narratives. When we see that, here they're building a case here, let's get ahead of it. Let's put the truth out. And I'd like to think that some of our movies have caused them to stop what they're doing and change direction. And if we keep doing that, then they're going to reach a point where they're going to have to play another game plan, or by that time we'll be able to fully expose them and stop them.
Yes, who wants to see these cases of measles from Texas? I had a short interview with Dr. Pierre Corey, who explained in detail what really happened. And yes, both of them didn't die from measles. I have to ask you at last.
Pierre was in the Pierre was in the film that we did.
Great. Yeah. Well, I have to ask you for the last.